Welcome to a Thursday night live. We will be live shortly. Just sorting out some technical difficulties. No big deal. In the meantime, enjoy the tunes. Should be live in a few minutes. Oh, by the way, if you can hear me right now, put one in the chat. One in the chat. All right. one, and 3, and 1. All right. So, I'll explain later. I haven't done a stream in a few weeks, and of course, things go wrong when you don't stream. Things go wrong. But we're here. Rhino, name of this song. This song is Breaking the Siege by Arthur Vink. Breaking the Siege. There you go. Now you know. Come on, you know. There you go. Tom Davis in the chat tonight. Bet he was doing the sheep herding thing, I bet. No. None of that. Battery charging issues. Let's just leave it at that. All right, we'll be live in a few minutes. We do have one guest with us so far. We will have more later on this evening. It's going to be a nice, calm, relaxing, happy, hopefully, show tonight. No drama, because we've got enough of that in the real world. So sit back, enjoy the tunes. We'll be with you shortly. You didn't rub the charger correctly. You fuck. No, I didn't, actually. I'll explain later. We'll get into that later. In the meantime, enjoy. And shut up. Time to start the show officially. I'll see you in 4. everything is up and running. We got 2 people backstage so far. No echo, thank you. We'll have a few more people. Tonight is a different show. Easy. It's a certain month where a certain group of individuals celebrates all month long. There's a lot of things that most of you probably just disagree with or are stressed about, which is fine. But there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. What's coming, we don't know. And it's hard to say. We have an election year that is, to say the very least, highly provocative, in that there are a lot of people believe that our last election, at least in the United States, was maybe not so above board. All right. There were 34 felony convictions on a former sitting president of the United States, which is just unfounded. It's never happened in history up until now. A lot of people believe that in this country, we have become a straight up banana republic, which is quite shameful. But regardless, with all the stress, with all of the things going on, there's only so much you can do, right? You can't control what corrupt arms of government does or what certain woke ideologies do to your franchises. Let's just put a nail in that coffin. Thank you, Acolyte, for finally totally destroying Star Wars. Because of you, the franchise is dead. So there's that. But, I mean, what are you going to do? On this show and on many shows like ours, like Pops, Hammerham, Chronic, who else do we have? Jimmy's. We have a bunch of channels out there. MGTOW Outlaw. A lot of guys focus on the doom and gloom, or in some cases, a red pill, whether it's dating or whatever, and how terrible it is, right? We've done that. We've done our fair share. I've talked to you about statistics and data. We've broken it down. One of our best shows still, I think, is our episode regarding Crowder's divorce. If you want to go check that out, Crowder is the thumbnail. I still need to re-edit that and get that back out to you guys. But it's one of our best shows. But it's a lot of doom and gloom. It's talking about marriage and dating and how terrible your odds are as a man in this country in 2023, now 2024. And it's unfortunate. But it is what it is. But what can you do with the time you have now, today? So there is a lot to stress about. There is a lot of bad news and a lot of uncertainty. The economy is certainly not doing great. The job market is falling apart. Sure, you either are or know someone who is experiencing an employment gap, unemployment. Lord knows, been there, done that. And the cost of everything is double or triple what it used to be. And that's all doom and gloom. And this sounds terrible. And it is. And I'm not going to argue with you guys. If you're aware of it, you're better off for knowing. But what do you do with that knowledge? That's what we're here for tonight. I notice a lot of the channels out there, including mine, right? We hyper focus on the knowledge and what is and how bad it is. But a lot of channels don't talk about, okay, now what? And I want to talk about now what tonight. So I'll give you an example. I've gone through my shit the last 6 to 8 months, right? Y'all know it. That's why I'm not here every week on my normal schedule. But right now I'm enjoying the shit out of it. And there's a reason for that. I've had to find my, not to sound cliche or gay, but I've had to find my inner peace. I've had to find my sanity in dark times. And times are dark and they're getting darker. It's a big storm. You can see it coming. But are you going to be the guy that better not go swimming because it's getting stormy outside? Or are you going to go fucking swim anyway because daylight is left and the storm isn't here yet and enjoy it? You have a choice to make. Fear what's coming or enjoy what you have. It's a metaphor. There was a storm today and I went swimming. Big old black clouds. I enjoyed it anyway. Why not? Tomorrow isn't promised, right? We all know that. I don't know if I'll wake up tomorrow. Do you? I don't even know if there is a tomorrow. But I'm going to enjoy today while I have it. That's what we have. So, that's tonight's episode. We're going to talk about what to do in uncertain times, how to navigate through that, how to stay sane in, quite frankly, insane times. I saw somebody backstage had something pop up for their avatar and it disappeared. If you're hearing me, it was fixed and now it's broken again. Here's the thing, ladies, gentlemen, mostly gentlemen that watch this show. Things are hard right now. Things suck right now. Most of you are feeling that in your pocketbooks and politics and dating and relationships, sure. But what are you doing with today? What are you doing with right now? How are you enjoying the time you have today? And I think that is the more important question because, tomorrow may suck. We may get another 2020 election. We may get a lot of bad things coming up. But it's what we do with right now that matters. So I'm going to bring on my panel members. I'm sorry, I'm hearing some background noise. That's why you see me staring up into the abyss. I'm checking some audio. I guess the bottom line is you can't predict tomorrow. You can't see what tomorrow is going to bring. But if you found out today, hypothetically, that you were diagnosed with a terminal illness, you weren't going to survive, there's a 100% mortality rate. You're done. You've got, I don't know, let's say 2 weeks to a month. What are you going to do with your time? What would change? What priorities would no longer matter and what priorities would take top rank? I think that is the best way I can put it to you. That if you knew you had an expiration date, which, by the way, we all do, we just don't know the day, what would you do differently? What would you change? I'll tell you right now, I would seriously consider that expiration date today. Because I don't know. There's a lot of things going on in the world that, it's happened before. It can happen again. But right now we're living through times that are pretty uncertain, pretty scary, some of it. I mean, you got certain countries with nuclear capabilities that are pretty much fed up with certain corrupt regimes doing certain fucked up shit. What does that mean? What happens if somebody pulls the trigger on that whole scenario? I certainly don't know, but I can tell you that I have two choices, and so do you. We can sit here and stress about that. We can talk about that. We can be afraid of that. Or we could be proactive about that and prep and all of that. But what are you doing today? Did you spend time outside? Did you enjoy nature? Did you enjoy life? Did you, cliches, it sounds again, stop and smell the roses. Did you enjoy today? Or did you fret about tomorrow? Once again, I don't know tomorrow. Neither do you. Nobody knows tomorrow. But did you enjoy today? Did you, it's in the chat, did you touch grass today? Seems silly. Sounds very hippie, right? Did you touch grass? Well, yeah, I did. I repotted some peppers today. I got my hands dirty in the soil. I sat down and I enjoyed the simple things of bringing something to life from a seed, which was pretty incredible. Something I've learned this year, something I have a deep respect for now. And that's the thing. Did you take time for something that you enjoy? Ghost Pill. I touched mud, water, dirt, grass, and wood today. So yeah, I'd say he did it right. If I miss any chats, my apologies. If you want a super chat, I will definitely read those. I'm checking on MGTOW, Rumble, and of course YouTube, and of course that direction. If you want to donate on Cash App to the show, helps out a lot, keeping us running. I will read those chats as well. Let's get the panel members on. We've got Crusader Nate, and we've got Sean St. George. Gentlemen, welcome to
there.
This evening.
Oh.
A very firm sup.
My brain is juggling multiple things at once. Thanks for stalling. I got a brisket on my smoker at the moment, so put it on at 1:00 this afternoon. It's barely reached 80 degrees, and I just went and put 32 ounces of bone marrow and beef tallow injected into the brisket. So
sounds absolutely fantastic. And I would say you're thoroughly enjoying today.
Well, you're talking about, go out and touch grass, go out and do something you enjoy in the day. That's one thing I do. Like, get out of bed every morning, make my coffee, get out of bed, make my bed, make my coffee in nice summer weather. I go out barefoot, water my garden, my herbs, my vegetables, all the stuff that I have growing in my yard. I do that while having my morning coffee. I live on a lakefront. I live on a bluff. So if I go in my backyard, I see one of the Great Lakes. So I know many people don't even see the Great Lakes in their lifetime. All I got to do is go into my backyard and I can see it. So it's the little things that most people take for granted. Going out and watering my garden every morning, having coffee, water the garden. Here it is, 10:00 at night, and my smoker's going to be running all through the night. So, it's going to be an absolutely amazing brisket. I got a family birthday coming up tomorrow. So everybody in my family says that I make the best brisket they've ever had anywhere in the country. I appreciate that. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I know I know a little bit about a little bit, and I do things my way, and if someone doesn't like it, that's okay. They can do their own.
I know what I got.
Yeah, it's it's a quarter of a pound under 18 pounds.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's what she said.
But, there it is.
Set you up on that one. Right. Haven't done that in a while, so we had to get that out of the way. So yeah, find something. Like a lot of the guys I talk to within the community, it's one thing I tell them. Make sure you do something for you every day. Make sure you do something that makes you a better man tomorrow than you were today.
Absolutely.
And work on that. Work on the small stuff. I know it's no surprise, Rhino, that you and I converse, not regularly, but we do communicate above and beyond in outside streams. So it is what it is. We've had some lengthy conversations. We've had some crazy conversations, but we've kind of seen a lot of challenges come through life, and you just got to learn to roll with the punches. And like I said in the chat, life is a terminal illness. Don't take life too seriously, because nobody gets out alive anyway.
Very true. So
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed, you guys have a few years on me, but and I think I watched a show on this, how perception affects it. But the older I get, the faster the years seem to go. And I get it, because at 10 years old, your life was like very small compared to what it is at 30, 40. So time does tend to speed up, just based on your perception. But that said, this is something cool I learned. If you do new things and form new hobbies, that time then slows back down. So
a little bit.
And to a degree, but when you add new experiences to your life, when you're more spontaneous, it will start slowing that clock back down. So that's something to keep in mind. But
that's a double-edged sword, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because looking back, where was I 20 years ago versus where I am now? I've learned a lot. I've learned new hobbies. I've learned new skills. The people I knew 20 years ago, most of them, I don't talk to anymore. Right. We've kind of gone our own separate ways, so to speak. But I mean, it does slow down, but it also goes so quickly. The best way I can put it into perspective is when you're in, like, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade, you feel like summer break is just going to last forever. And you have that sensation that every week is like a month long. It takes forever to go through that summer break, and you never want it to end.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that what it feels like to do that 3-month summer break long. Imagine 20 years going that fast. Where quite literally you could tell, you could remember a day, a date, a time, where you were, where you went out to eat, who you talked to, just as if it was yesterday. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, that was 20 years ago? Because it just feels like it was last week, man. It happens. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, but it happens. But let's get the rest of the usual suspects in here too.
Yeah. As a tangent to that, he makes a point. So life does go a lot faster than I would have thought when I was a kid. And of course, most of you experienced it. It goes by so quick. So take a moment to appreciate, again, the day. Because you never know. I remember what felt like a week ago was graduating high school. And here I am almost 20 years later, in a year. It's crazy. It all just like that. We have another guest with us tonight, Agent of God. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey.
Hello.
I see Nate and Sean and Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All guys that I would suspect would make it through some uncertain times that might befall us pretty soon.
Define uncertain times.
I'm just saying that these are guys who know how to pack a bug out bag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know a little bit about a little bit.
Fair enough.
I don't have access to all the toys I would like to put in my bag or in my truck, but I don't have a truck anymore. So, yeah, I'll have to make do with what I can procure.
Fair enough.
What happened to your truck?
It was a bit expensive when it was $600 a month. So, traded in for a Dart years ago.
Like one of the new gay looking darts.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Red Pill Rhino.
But you know what? That gay looking dart had like 40 to 50 miles per gallon. It's fucking nice that you don't have to fill up once a week.
On that note, before we get into too much gayness, let's talk. I'm going to kind of pass the torch to these gentlemen, but I want to talk about something specific to this show. So, as you know, the last few months of my life have been fairly uncertain, and there's a fair level of experience I took from that I'd like to share with you. So, last August, September, somewhere around there, I found out that my contract work no longer existed, which was a sweet gig and paid way too much for what I did. But that's here nor there. It was gone. Poof. I moved 2 hours away from where I lived in hopes that the contract would be kind of permanent, which is fine. I had family in the area and it worked out. But again, poof. What do? Found a job. Seemed to work out just fine. And then it didn't. I'm not going to go into details, but if you know, you know, and certain people are kuantahas. I'll leave it at that. And I was left scrambling. Not with a big safety net, but friends, family told me, you're going to find something. Relax. It's going to be okay. You've been through this before. Granted, these people know me. I've lived in a truck and started a business that led to a shop that was pretty good, right? Went from living in a truck, servicing cars on the side of the road, changing batteries and towing and stuff like that, to having a detail shop eventually, because what I would do is I'd tow somebody and I'd put that money into tools or something, and then eventually like a vacuum and a shampooer and on until I had the equipment, and then wound up with a shop down the road. So I survived hard times before. This was 2008, the financial collapse we had then with the housing market and everything else. Been there, done that. And therefore, I know how to get through tough times, right? One of the shittiest part of that was sleeping in the back of that pickup truck with a camper shell and a little space heater. Those little ones with the like wires across that you turn on, and they have a heating element. The wires had that in the back of the truck with a power inverter, and slept in a truck stop for a few months during the winter. That part sucked, but wound up building a business, got an apartment, everything was good. I worked my way through it. But point is, when you're put in those circumstances, you learn real quickly how to adapt. Now, going through that, my friends and family said, relax. Yes, you're going through a little stint of unemployment, but enjoy the time. Use it like vacation time. Enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not good at enjoying anything. I'm not good at sitting around. I'm not good about thinking about things. I'm not good about not thinking about things. I'm good about go, 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 go. So I spent a lot of time doing applications and interviews, and I probably worked harder trying to find a job than I have ever worked in a job in my life. And I think there's an important lesson to be had from this, is that my friends and family were right. I did find the job. They were right. But I didn't enjoy the time I had as much as I could have. I didn't maximize my downtime. I didn't take that time to refocus, to heal, so to speak, and just do me. Instead, I pushed, found the job. Everything's fine. But I didn't reflect enough. I didn't take the time to touch the grass. And I regret it. We're talking a month ago, is the end of this little stint. But if I could go back and do it different, hence the point of the show here, I would have taken a lot more time to do the things I enjoy. More, maybe take my skateboard to the skate park, or more walks with the dogs, or I don't know, anything. More sleeping in. I'd get up the same time I would for a job just to start doing applications every day. I didn't take time for me. And in the end, here's the funny thing. So you're going to say, well, you did all the hard work. That's why you got the job. No. All those applications were a waste of fucking time. All of them. Everything on in Indeed and ZipRecruiter, waste of time. All I did is talk to a guy that knew a guy and said, I used to work at this place. I'd like to work here again. Do you have anything? And he called the district manager, who then called me, who then said, we have this. And that's how it happened. None of those applications and interviews, which, by the way, in this shitty job economy, they're paying way too little and asking way too much. None of them were realistic or worked. So I wasted my own time stressing about income. Now, the reason I say that is to get back to the bigger point. We are living in very uncertain times, as I said. I'm not sure what tomorrow brings. Job market's crap, economy's crap, politics crap, all of it's crap. But from what I just told you, are you going to spend the rest of this time worrying and hyper-focusing on it? Or maybe, and I'm going to give you advice that actually would nuke my own channel, maybe step away from all of this. Step away from channels like mine. Step away from shows that are doom and gloom and heavy on the news and heavy on how shitty everything is, and dating and politics are all crap, right? Maybe just turn the fucking thing off. Maybe go touch that fucking grass. Maybe go take that walk. Maybe enjoy the time you have. Because things are going to get bad. They always do. They always get better too. Thank God. Life is a cycle. But things always get shitty. And we're going into shitty times. I would hope that you watching would spend that time that you have now accordingly and enjoy it while you can. Because there's going to be a time where you're going to have to do the hard work, where you may be literally or metaphorically living in that truck to make it. I remember dinner a few nights was finding a scratch ticket in the truck stop parking lot that somebody threw away that bought me that meal at that truck stop that night. There are going to be hard times for you, me, everybody you know. Those times are coming, absolutely. But right now, call it the calm before the storm. What are you going to do with the time you have today? Don't waste it. You can worry about the truck stop meal later when it happens. What are you going to do with the time you have now? I'm going to open this back up to panel. Whoever wants to jump in, please do so. Your experiences, your stories, of course, matter. And I want you to share them here tonight.
So I've known Rhino for 12 years now. And I've heard part of his story. I met him when he was coming out of that really rough time where he had the detailing job. And there's two things that he left out that I want to share with y'all. Both will probably maybe bring a tear to his eye. And the first one is he left out the fact that there was a particular dog that helped him through that time.
Yeah.
That dog saved his fucking life.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The dog was brown.
Good old brown fucking dog.
Yes. So that's a very important thing. Like, you can't undersell that the dog saved Rhino's life.
So
on cold nights, it was warm and he just hugged him.
I have
seriously.
to interject. I had a golden retriever. I picked her up at 11 weeks old, and this, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna fucking cry. But I had a dog, 11 weeks old, and we survived on some shit. I'm telling you. At one point I had this is before the homeless den. I had a really shitty apartment with a slumlord, and there happened to be this Christian, I don't know what he was, but he was one of those guys that would talk gospel all day with you, and you need to bring over donated food or whatever. We survived on that for a while. It was a rough time, and I did get through that whole experience with the dog. But there was one night granted, this was over a decade ago, so even then, my life experience was pretty pathetic. But I sat down one night, bunch of shooters, and I took all these shooters. Her name was Roxanne, by the way, after the song, like the song, named the dog after the song. But anyway, sat down with all these shooters, drinking away, and I was telling the dog my life story. 11-week-old puppy just staring at me like, you know how that goes. And I got done telling this whole story after all these shooters. I'm drunk as fuck. And I look at the dog and I said, you didn't understand a single fucking thing I said. You're just a brown fucking dog. And I grabbed her and I curled up with her and we fell asleep by the fucking front door of my apartment. And on the inside, but by the front door. And I just fell asleep with the dog. You're just a brown fucking dog. You didn't understand shit. And that is the story of the brown dog. Greatest dog I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, period. And I know everybody says about that their dog, but that dog was a celebrity. Everybody that knew that dog loved that dog. Anyway, not crying.
Oh, speaking of dogs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear the story? Oh, don't scowl at me. Don't you scowl at me. I know what you're doing, Dad. I'm going to be a pain until you give me something.
Yep.
So there's another life lesson right there. Buy a dog.
So I said that there was a second thing that he left out of the story,
Sure.
and that is that he put a lot of great detail and attention into his detailing business. He was the best detailer in town by the time he put that business away, and for reasons like he was not afraid to just huck Tua, put some spit on it. You know what I mean?
No, that never fucking happened, and that's fucked up. But that's funny. Jesus Christ!
They turned their cameras off.
Well, he never has one on.
No, I was getting a distraction for the dog. I heard
just
that.
huck to it and spit on that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you showed pictures of it on Facebook.
Yes.
That thing, the snake that she was.
The snake.
Caught
No, the snake was not the thing, but that is a hilarious meme. Well, I don't have the video. We'd show it if I did. I don't have the video. You guys can go find it. There was a TikTok girl that went famous. It was one of those street interviews where what do men find most attractive? And the Southern girl stops and she says, oh, when you hock Tua on that thing. What the fuck?
Oh. I have not seen that yet.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
And then the world's largest manhunt ensued. Guys just want to know who this girl is.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm seeing memes on how she's actually bringing the country together more than any politician ever did.
Yes, that's true.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Yeah, when the truth actually comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my life has not been ideal. I mean, I've had a lot of problems. I've had a lot of stuff that, not many people are aware of. I know there's one thing, Ron, you don't have to put me full screen because I want to see the look on everybody's face when I say this on the panel.
Okay. All right. Let's see what
Most of you guys know that I was a defense contractor. A lot of my buddies were type A personality, hard charger, high speed individuals, wound up being recon Marines, Rangers, SF, PJs. A lot of the guys that I ran around with, Task Force 66, Task Force 88, some real nothing's going to get in their way, nothing's going to stop them type individuals. And I've said this to Pop a couple of times. I've said it on Pop Stream a few times. Between 2001 and about 2010, 36 of my closest friends, of the guys that I've known for close to 20 years, during that time frame either lost them to training accidents, combat overseas. Think of 36 people you know and talk to and see regularly. That's just about everybody. The people you normally interact with, that's probably the vast majority of what most people interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I lost all of them in under a decade. And then a
What
few years
happened?
after that, I lost my old man.
Jeez.
So when people talk about having a network of people and talking to a lot of people and having a lot of friends, having a lot of people to network with and to be around, most of these guys you've known for at least a decade or more, 15, 20 years. Now imagine if all of them are gone. That is what that is where I stand. I mean, I know Sean and I have joked about it. You know, I joke about it because that's how I deal with it. And we'll talk about something in the past happened 15 years ago. Like, oh yeah, I knew a guy that was doing this. He was over here, over there doing this, that. And he's like, well, where is he? I'm like, he's dead now.
Just
it's kind of
casually.
like it's kind of the running joke. I mean, almost everybody.
Yeah, I think Nate and I have done that. He's talking about friends like, oh, is he dead?
Yeah. And it's gotten to the point where it doesn't even affect me to be like, oh yeah, he's dead now. But it just hit me a couple of weeks back. I went to call a buddy of mine, tell him happy birthday, and I forgot he's been gone for 12 years already.
Shit.
Oh shit!
And it like I had to act like it's one of those realizations now where it's like almost everybody that I've shared most of my 20s and 30s with are gone.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy to sit here and to do that. I mean, girls I've dated, one of the last serious relationships I was in, she and I got in a big argument. She was living in my condo at the time. I was traveling for work. She got so pissed at me, she quite literally cleaned out my condo. Like, I don't know if she got a moving company or how she did it. I came home, there was no hangers in the closet, all of my clothes were thrown out, there was no towels, there was no soap, there was no paper towel, no toilet, there was it was quite literally completely void of anything. No pictures on the walls. It looked like nobody was ever in there.
She take the ice cube tray too?
Yeah. Quite literally everything was gone. And I had no idea. I was gone for 2 weeks for work. I tried calling her every day, but she never responded to any of my messages, and I never heard a word from her. And I just looked back a couple weeks ago and just searched her name to see if she was still out there. Like, what if, where is she now? She died 5 years ago.
Damn.
And it's like, she left me, she got married and divorced, I think 3 or 4 times, and wound up doing the wrong thing in a wrong location over in Europe, and put herself in a no-win situation, just being stupid. Yeah. So it's like having to go through stuff like that. Yeah, dude, I've been on the I worked for a couple of universities as a researcher, and employment contracts and stuff like that. Agent out, you probably know how those work. You work for a university, they extend you, they'll put you on a 5-year contract, and then 2 months later they're like, oh yeah, contract, we cut it short. It's like no warning, no notice, other than 12-hour notice, or if that. But yeah, I've been down that road a couple of times myself, and that's something definitely challenging to deal with. But yeah, it's no matter what, no matter what I've been through in situations like that. I mean, it's gotten to the point where most of the people that I spend holidays and stuff with are gone. And so that's why I appreciate having just doing panels like this, just being around a community like this, because, I've shared this with a lot of the guys before. We're around each other for a limited time. One of these days is going to be the last time one of us is here.
Yeah.
And we have to make the best of what we got. I've been in and out of how many different people's lives. They've been in and out of my life. So it's a challenge. And dealing with some of that stuff, yeah, you're going to look back at it and you're going to say, oh, I wish I would have said this. I wish I never would have said that. Why was I so stubborn? Why was I so bullheaded? Stuff like that. But you know what? Kind of that stuff made you who you are today. And you probably learned from that. You probably grown and adjusted from that.
Mm-hmm.
The new friends you're gonna make later, you're not going to make the same mistakes again.
Yeah,
exactly. It makes you a better person.
Yeah.
But that's a little rundown on me. Yeah, 36 people in less than a decade.
Well, today was anniversary of, this must have happened in 07. I was not, let's say, big friends with these guys, but I knew them, worked with them constantly. People from different companies in my battalion, they all got into a Humvee and they got blown up. All, 5 of them died. Took out a major, took out a chief medic, took out the other guys that were part of his detail. And that deployment was a bad one. We lost more people than the first one I was on. I think we only lost one. No, we lost 2 people on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a challenge to deal with, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that kind of wraps around to my point. Again, we don't know, you, me, anybody, we don't know when our time's up. And not to be redundant, but point of the show, so I'm going to be. There's a lot to stress about, yes. But if, again, you know that you've only got a limited amount of time on this planet with the people you care about, especially, that's the big one. It's not just your time, but who you share it with, whether they're 4-legged or 2-legged.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do to enjoy that time? Because like I said, I don't know what the rest of this year is going to be. It seems like a shit show. I'll tell you that. I don't have a lot of confidence in things being amazing. But I do know. Tell you what I did today, just to give you an example. So it's my day off, and I woke up, hung out with the dogs for a little in the morning, jacked around. Then I went outside, and I hadn't really looked at my garden much this week because I've been working. But I was like, man, some of these peppers look sad, health-wise. So I decided to repot a couple of them. Then I went to the nurseries. Home Depot was one. The other one was a local shop. But I went over there and I bought some seeds and I bought some pesticides. I have to. I've got aphids and shield bugs and grasshoppers and false, whatever they call those, cinches or whatever. I've got bugs out the ass. So I had to find like the safest pesticides I could find. And then I came home and I repotted some things and I spent more time with the dogs and they enjoyed it. They're normally crazy. You open the gate, they go running out, but they just chilled with me. They kind of wanted to see what I was doing, so they stayed by. And that was fun, just spending time with them. And then I skateboarded for a while. You guys know I picked that hobby up last year. And skateboarding in sandals is risky. I found out today because my big toe got used as a brake pad on the asphalt.
Oh, ow.
Yeah, it was good. It's good. Learning lesson. But why sandals? Because I went swimming today too. There's a pool out here where I live. A little pool and a hot tub. So I spent most of the day like a fish, just swimming, doing laps, having fun. And here's the cool part, talking about people who are no longer here. I have a little radio on the desk here. It's not any radio. It's a special radio. So this little guy, it's here on every show. You just can't really see it. It's a little radio from Big Lots. I don't know if you have anything like that. I don't know if everybody has one that's watching the show, but it's like a discount small Target, I guess is the best way to put it. It's like a small discount Target. Anyway, this is a little radio I bought there. It's Bluetooth, right? And in it, the very top here, is this little thumb drive, right? On this little thumb drive is every CD that my stepfather ever owned, all condensed in that little, it's crazy technology. He had a lot of stuff that wild music, to say the least. He liked, I don't know, like the Clash, the Cars. That's the basic shit. But then he liked, what was it, 10,000 Maniacs. There's a whole bunch of obscure, like alternative rock on there. And I brought that to the pool and I was listening to it. I'm like, blast from the past. It feels like being back growing up in high school, hanging out with him and my mom, listening to his music. And it's all playing on this little radio out by the pool. Kind of brought back to the dead, so to speak, for a minute. It was a good day, you know, and I had a lot of fun. I felt, for the first time in years, I felt like I was 16 again. I just fucked around, skateboarded, got in the pool, you know, hanging out with the dogs, playing in the dirt. It was nice. And I guess that's my point. This whole show, I lived it today. I did it today. Not in preparation for the show, but because I'm trying to make more time for things like that. So, yeah, I played in the dirt. I swam, I skateboarded, I fucked around, I found out and turned my big toe into a brake pad. It was cool. But I had fun. And, you know, I want you guys to do more of that. Each and every one of you. Maybe not specifically what I did, but something to that equation. Something that makes sense for you. Something that makes you forget about time and politics and dating and maybe turn off the internet. Maybe cancel your subscription to whatever crap you watch. Maybe just spend more time doing what you love with the people you care about. Right? Bottom line. Just make the time.
I know, well, we know of a creator who does something like that once a year, Dave Rubin. Every August, he disables all of his social media and does nothing but hang out with his family the whole month. And then it's, what is it? When September rolls along, he always gets some big guest to come in and be like, so what happened last month? And he gets flabbergasted with all the dumb things that happen during that time period.
Like spit on that thing.
Well, he knows about that now, I'm pretty sure. We'll have to wait and see what happens in August, and maybe we'll have to watch that show when he does his return. But yeah, there's also, I forget which Stoic says this. It's probably a few of them, which is you need to take time for yourself. Mm-hmm. Something that is either maybe once a day or one day a week or maybe like a month out of the year where you just take time purely for yourself. You can do whatever you want. Go screw around with your hobbies, go learn a new skill, go do something that gives you enjoyment and happiness.
Yeah. 100%. So
you guys all... And the other part about that is anybody who gets in the way of that, you tell them to fuck off.
Fuck them.
Yep.
So you guys have watched my show long enough to know that Toys R Us is where I live.
Right.
Oh, shit, it's gone. Anyway, it's in the other room. But I got this 1/15 scale Gravedigger monster truck RC car.
Why does that not surprise me?
I've been enjoying the shit out of it. It only runs for like 20 minutes before it runs out of battery, but it rolls over the gravel, it jumps over rocks, it rides through the grass. And that's another thing. Like, big kid, no fucking surprise there, but you're taking the little RC car out and fucking around, terrorizing the neighbors. So that's fun too. So I guess that's another part of it. Don't let the inner child of yours die. Not to quote anything specifically, some of you will know, some of you won't, but when you grow up, your heart dies. Don't let that happen to you. Don't fucking completely grow up. That shit's stupid. Anybody tells you, yeah, you're acting like a fucking child, well, they're dead inside. All right, so there you go.
What's that saying that we spend almost our entire adult lives to go back to a state of being a child again?
Yeah.
In our
Ain't
twilight years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at life, I had a few friends that are. All right, here's a joke. Kind of funny. A few buddies of mine about 20 years ago, they're dead now. Were helping their elderly parents and stuff like that. And my buddies are now dead and gone. They aged out, and they said to me, they said, you know what? They said, you never truly understand the circle of life until you understand the basic premise that you come into this world bald, toothless, and making a bunch of noise, relying on others to take care of you. That's how we come into this world. And if you've lived life full circle, you leave it the same way. Bald, toothless, and everybody around you taking care of you. You leave the world how you came in it if you lived life to the full circle. And if you look at that on just a foundational level, it's pretty damn accurate.
So let me just shorten that. You came into the world kicking and screaming, try to end it the same way.
Pretty much.
That's another perspective, yeah.
Yeah. And the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing that, helping family and stuff like that, that's pretty much consumed most of my year this year, more than I ever expected it to. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but the gratitude, the reward, the satisfaction you get from doing something small for somebody like that is just, you can't put a price on that. And you know, so many people are so busy about social media interactions and stuff like that. They're more concerned with other people think of them versus doing the right thing. And if you take the time to help somebody who helped you in the past, you're repaying them and paying it forward at the exact same time. And there, in my humble opinion, there's probably no greater thing you can do than to return the favor, so to speak, and then take that energy and pay it forward as well. Hopefully that's good karma out there if that actually works. That would be wonderful.
Heck yeah.
So in doing things like that, you learn things that most people overlook, most people forget, most people have never known. And it'll help change your perspective on life. So just a little pearl of wisdom or ramblings of a madman, however you want to look at it.
Yes. Also, I have to point this out. Sean put it in the chat earlier. So there's a wooden fist up here, which, all of you, when you watch Red Pill Rhino, are number one. So there's that. But also, Sean sent me this a few weeks ago, and it's very reminiscent of a certain Crusader Nate. That's what she said. So that's now part of the desk.
Well, that was just one of those things that is like, dude, I don't care how much it costs. We got to do it.
Well, I remember when he was on with Pop the first time, it was probably, 2.5 years ago. And you'd get all spun up, all riled up. And I'm like, hey, whoa, like, and I'm like, and you wouldn't catch on. And you would get all riled up. And you would make a one-line statement. And I would just like, that's what she said. And it would snap you out of it. And you would just like, think about what you just said. And it's kind of that reset button. It's like, okay, there is that reset button we can hit for other people to let them think and realize what they're doing and what they're saying, and how they're getting themselves out of control and outside of who they are. And we all need that. I got some family and friends that do that for me. I repay it, and I pay it forward to other people out there. And that's kind of one of the things that I do, here in this community. It's like, make a smart remark, make somebody chuckle, make them kind of snap out of their brain phase of where, they get riled up on something. It's like, hey man, just let it go, snap back to who you are. And, another fun life experience. We used to say to, people, it's like, you know what? Don't sweat the petty things, pet the sweaty things. Now, hopefully this doesn't get you demonetized. A friend of mine, she was going through a really, really, really bad situation with, we were friends, she was dating somebody, and it was a complete disaster. And she was going through college at the time, taking care of her family and stuff like that. And I just looked at her, I'm like, hey, said, don't sweat the petty things, pet the sweaty things. She kind of looked at me, gave me a smirk, put her hands on her hips, and she goes, the last time I tried that, my hands got sticky.
Oh.
And she quite literally hit me with a ton of bricks. Like, I'm fairly quick-witted. I had no response to that.
Right.
And I still to today, she and I, we're still friends, and we still kind of laugh and joke about that. It's like, I'm like, you know what? Usually I'm the one that gets people with the one-liners, but I'm like, that time, I'm like, you got me with that. But she says she still laughs about that and tells her friends about that. But yeah, I mean, you have to have those little funny moments in life. You have to have those little things that break the stress, the tension, and make you laugh.
Indeed.
What do you think, Agent Adot? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, actually, I brought Agent Adot on for a very specific reason tonight. I almost begged him to be here, but I feel like you have a lot of experience, not to go into details, but with what what you focus on as work, let's say. I feel like you have a lot to bring to the table on this subject specifically, so I want to talk to you about it.
Sure. Building off of what Sean said, I start almost every session of mine with a client by asking them what they did for self-care that week. That's how important it is. And then I end sessions that don't have a really good landing to the airplane. I just ask them like, hey, what are you going to do to take care of yourself this week? And that kind of leads to the segue of ending the session. But beginning and ending with self-care is very important as far as my framework for how therapy works, because that's where you should be focused, is what are you doing outside of that 1 hour per week that you could see me. Let's multiply this effort that we're doing, not just this 1 hour. Let's do stuff outside of this. But also, I can't stress enough connections. We are not supposed to be lone wolves, us human beings. We're more like honeybees, actually, that we need other people, and people just don't get that. And sometimes when you're going through your worst stuff, you're trying to go it alone because of shame or whatnot, and you just gotta snap out of it to the point where you realize being around other people is going to make you feel better. The right people, anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to prepare for uncertain times, like the title of this show, I would say there's many ways that you could be rich in this world. You could try to stockpile actual gold like some preppers, but being rich in friendship and having a lot of friends is another good way to prepare for uncertain times, because you need the kind of friends that'll be there for you at like 3 a.m. when you have 2 blowouts. You need someone to help you, fix a flat.
I don't know anybody like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depends on your definition of a blowout. So just
Well, I wasn't
Hawk
there for
to.
that. Hawk to it.
I have not seen that, but I might have to go look for that.
Yeah, go look for it.
Mhm.
On that
I
note,
recommend also that everyone go look for that in
yes.
your own life somewhere. Just go look for that.
All you get to do is hot to it and spit on that thing.
She sounds like she's from Outlaw's neck of the woods.
Here's the thing: the fact that everybody on the internet immediately knew what she meant says everything.
Yup.
Hot to it and spit on that thing. Here's the thing: something else to add to this conversation outside of that. I had an interesting conversation the other day with a manager I'm working for. So, contrary to most red pill channels out there that are all dating oriented, that want you to be a billionaire or whatever, chase six figures, get that six pack. You know, my manager told me the other day, I agree with it actually. I traded in having the six-figure salary to have peace of mind. He said, I would rather live with less and be able to spend time with friends and family that I care about than spending all my time chasing a dollar. That's something to think about too. A lot of these fucking channels will tell you, you need the six-figure salary and the 6 foot. Or alternatively, if you're doing this to chase women to begin with, God help you. God rest your soul. But there's something to be said about that. Why are you chasing the six figures? Why are you chasing all of these pipe dreams when it would be far more reasonable to live with less and enjoy what you have? I think a lot of people get lost in the, I want to be like Andrew Tate. Maybe not you, but somebody out there wants to be like Andrew Tate because he has the Bugatti, right? Or Fresh and Fit because they can go to Backpage and hire prostitutes. I mean, I didn't say that. They want the fame. They want the fortune. They want the girls. But the girls, as Aaron Clary would say. But why? Why do you want all of these things? Like, I like all of these things because I'm a materialistic stuff goblin. And I like collecting bullshit, plastic stuff. But I don't have a Bugatti or a mansion, you know, and I'm happy with what I have. Sometimes you got to take a step back and think about what's important to you. Is chasing the fame and the fortune and working the 80 hours at 2 jobs or whatever the fuck bullshit, is that really going to make you happy? Are you really enjoying your life? And then here's the other question. Well, yeah, but I'll have savings and be able to enjoy it. Well, the way inflation's going, maybe not. But also, I'm not telling you not to save and not to be mature about your finances, but I am also going to tell you, you might die tomorrow. So why spend your entire life waiting for your 60s and 70s to enjoy life when right now is a good time to be enjoying life? Maybe not focus on throwing away the best years of your life away for the promise of your golden years in which you're probably, most of you, including me, are going to be looking a lot like Joe Biden minus the child grooming touching thing. But the shitting your pants thing could happen. So maybe enjoy life while you can before you look like him in public. Okay? Just a thought. Just a thought.
I forget who I heard this from, but it was a video about how our models of labor have changed from the early 1900s to today. And the main takeaway I believe he was trying to convey was, why do you work 30 to 40 years to enjoy life when you're at an age where you're limited on what you can enjoy now?
Mm-hmm.
being 50, 60, well, what, the retirement age is 65, 67. How active can you be at that age?
Right.
Can you really enjoy it, or are you just going to subsist off of your retirement and just stick around in your house, or you want to go on vacation to exotic locations, but you kind of realize you just don't have the energy or the physical capacity anymore?
Yeah. Here's another thing the same manager said, which I know, and I've probably told you guys before, but it was just refreshing to hear this from somebody else. He said, don't request vacation time. Tell me you're not going to be available. Tell me that you're going to be out for 2, 3, 4 days. Take your vacation time. Take your days off. Because a lot of you guys, and he was talking to like the younger staff, we were all just happened to be there, but he's like, a lot of you guys are going to request, and then I'm going to end up denying. Just tell me you're not here. Enjoy the time you have and make it a priority that I am going to do something for me. This guy's cool. And again, I can't go into details or anything, but he's flat out like, don't work this hard or slave your life away for a corporation that'll replace you tomorrow. Do you first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just refreshing to hear somebody outside of our circle say that. It was really refreshing. So, but
well,
that's
the
the
old
point.
model where you got rewarded for being loyal to a company for 20 years or more does not exist anymore, because they will deliberately find a way to remove you, and remove you in a way that is going to be your fault somehow, so that they have that 4-clause termination, which means they don't have to pay you out your retirement.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, kind of on that same note, Sean, I worked for a couple of different universities, and you were required to pay into the university employee retirement fund. Well, they take a certain amount out of your check, they put it into the retirement fund, but you cannot access or transfer any of that funding until you hit your retirement age, and you have to have a minimum of 5 years as an employee of the university. And some of these universities deliberately bring people in 2, 3, 4 years and have them pay in and pad the university retirement plans. And then just when you get to the point where you could be able to transfer it out, they drop you like a bad habit.
Sure.
So you sunk, a couple $100 a week out of your paycheck into some university's retirement fund that you're technically paying taxes on as a retirement package. But then all of a sudden, because you didn't put in the minimum number of years to be able to draw on that, then you have to wait until I think it's like 70 years old where you can actually take that and transfer it over into a private retirement package. There's so many employers with so many sneaky ways of doing that to people. I've seen it at 4 different universities I've worked for already. And it's a pretty shady and cheap way to treat people on a general level. No one's going to be loyal to you out there as far as employers. I was the dude working 60, 80, 90 hours a week, working 2 full-time jobs, never took vacation. I was that guy that never took a sick day, never took a personal day, never took a day of vacation. I would trade it with other coworkers. Like if they needed sick days or whatever, I just, bounce it over and trade it with them. And I was that guy that worked for the companies that they changed the laws and the rules within the business to not buy out your vacation at the end of the year, because somebody went so many years to the point where they had 6, 8, months worth of vacation that the company would have to pay out for because we never took it. And they would they would write one big lump sum check to buy that out at the end of the year.
And when I was in the Army, we had 90 days, use or lose, and you only get 30 days a year. So people literally never left or never took leave at all. I knew a guy, he went from E1 to E6 in 4 years. That
Mm.
is very unheard of. But he got deployed and he never left. He kept piggybacking off of units that were incoming, and they kept granting it because, well, the military was always hurting for people, and it's infantry. But he'd only go home to go to the required schools to go to get
Right.
rank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
I had a
saved
buddy that
mine up.
did that. Go ahead.
I took terminal leave when I got out of the Army. I had 88 days, like right
Yeah.
near the maximum of 90, and they actually made it to where you could only take 60 in a row, ever,
Oh
for
yeah,
any reason.
they pull that
So
shenanigans too. They tried that with
I
me.
took almost a month, and then I had to come back. And on just a couple days I was back, they gave me CQ duty, which is like a 24-hour duty, just
Ugh.
because they were just going to stick it to me. The one,
Yeah.
I only was going to touch home base for a minute and then leave and never see them again. They're like, wait, we got you for a day. So,
Yep.
Dicks.
yeah. Then I took 60 days terminal leave. And I actually did that on purpose. I saved up and did not go on vacations because I wanted out quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the universities I worked for, they, depending on, I don't even know exactly, I've never seen this before, but you were rated on a point scale of how many hours a week you're quote unquote allowed to work, which allows you a certain percentile of vacation, holiday, or PTO, and all this other stuff. They kind of structure it really, really funny. And I just re-signed. I did a 2-year contract with the university, and quite literally 10 days, it was 2 working weeks prior to the end of my one contract and the start of the other, which wound up putting me under the new contract guidelines. So I had 2 years worth of PTO, 2 years worth of holiday pay never taken, 2 years worth of sick days never taken, 2 years worth of mental health days never taken. And I remember it was 147 days of paid leave that I never took. And I remember when they cut my contract, I got a phone call after hours. I don't know who it was. With some numbers calling my phone. I just kept throwing out blocking the call and avoiding the call and avoiding the call. And then after like 10 or 11 calls, I found out after the voicemail they messaged that it was the university director of HR who was furious at me. I had 147 days of sick time, holiday pay, PTO, all of this stuff. And they axed my contract. So I wound up having the 2-year prior and the additional 2-year new contract, sick time, PTO, holiday pay, everything that they had to pay out. And they were just absolutely irate with me. And they're like, why don't you take any time off? Why don't you take any time off? And I'm like, every time I wanted to request a day off, they're like, no, well, we need, we know you're done with the project you're working on, but can you just, stay a couple of days and get somebody else caught up? I'm like, I wanted to take it, but you guys denied it every time. So, and they were not happy.
I'm sure.
And it took them 90 days to pay that out. They literally ran it till the last, I think it was like 89, I was like 88 or 89 days to where the state university would have gotten in trouble with the state labor department for delaying a payout. But yeah, they were not happy with that.
Sorry, I got no sympathies for them.
No.
Oh, me
Here's
either.
something else I wanted to point out to you guys. Just saw this in the chat. Never been an employee. I've worn a black hard hat for 19 years. Oil and gas mercenary. Well, I will tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. And I would absolutely recommend contract work above W-2 work if you can. However, I want to point out in this economy, especially, I'll just say it flat out. Now is not the time to look for new work or start a new business or shift gears at all. And what I told some of the guys that are on our panel, a couple of the younger guys, is if you need to find the W-2 job right now or move up in your W-2 job right now to be less replaceable, do so. I'm going to tell you this. I've been a contract for the last 10 years. 1099 the whole way. I went back to W-2 right now. For one, job market, as I said earlier, is absolute garbage. But two, I didn't lowball myself. I went in for a management position. Just straight walked in like, hey, I'd like to be a manager today. I'm waiting for him to figure out, I don't know, fuck all, but, that's here nor there. Now's not the time to be picky, is what I'm saying. Shit is rough out there, and there's no shame in taking a position that you can get. Now, granted, there are some caveats to that, and I would say make sure it pays well enough. Doesn't have to be extravagant, but make sure you can at least keep the roof over your head and the lights on and food in your fridge. If you can do that, you're okay. Okay, at least for now. Now, again, everything goes in cycles. We're about to hit a bad time. But with every bad time, things usually level out and end up being good times again. So just keep in mind, right now is not time to play fuck around and find out. Right now, keep your head down, take what you can get, and keep on trucking.
I'd like to put some emphasis on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I talked to a good cross section of people in my city, and what I've seen is the signs that giant layoffs are coming. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The first sign that I saw that I recognized from 2008 was employers doing things to piss off their employees in order to make them quit so that they don't have to lay them off later.
Yep.
The specific taste, the specific flavor of this time around that's different is the return to the office mandate. So there's a lot of people who have gotten really comfortable with their job giving them days that they can work from home, sometimes always remote work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll say, okay, we're going to have a return to the office to where you have to work at least one day in the office. And then they'll increase it to 2 days because they didn't get enough people to quit with just the 1 day. Mm-hmm. And then they'll start picking the day that you have to be in. They'll say, okay, well, now you have to come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays are mandatory, right? And they do this to try to find out which employees that they can get to just they're destroying their lives, because a lot of these remote workers have settled into a life where they don't pay for childcare anymore because they're there at home while they're doing the remote work, right?
Yeah.
And so they're eliminating parents this way, because if they have to come into work, then they're basically deciding, now, do I want to pay for childcare on these days that I have to go in? Or is it even worth it because childcare is so expensive, right?
Right.
So on the same times that they're doing this return to the office, they're also offering severance packages that are elective. People can just say, hey, I'll take it. There's a package. Yeah. It's available for everyone. You get a couple weeks, and we're cutting people down that way before they have to do a mandatory layoff.
Yeah.
Where that counts against their numbers and during their stock reports, it just makes the company look bad. So they're trying to winnow down their companies, get rid of all of the excess employees that they are going to have to, they know they're going to have to. And the signs are out there.
Yeah, they are.
And also along with that, employers voluntold that you have more responsibilities without
Yes.
additional compensation, or
Yeah.
stupid stuff like we want you to be available 24/7.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've been getting or watching these shorts like Veronica at work, and she's just telling these managers off. They're like, no, you can't tell me that I need to be available. Otherwise, you're going to have to compensate me for that availability time. Or you come in for a mandatory meeting in the office and they ask you, why'd you clock in? You made me come in.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
not to do overtime, I took that off, or I took that at the end of the day instead of at the beginning of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to write you up for leaving early.
Oh
Mm.
yeah. I had one
Another
university do
thing,
that.
another thing I want to throw in there. So, I'll just talk to retail specifically because it's something I know outside of contract work. Prior to the pandemic, we had a lot of sales-focused retail jobs out there. And when the pandemic hit, or right before it, when things started having a downturn, you would notice they shifted to busy work. So it wasn't so much be on the sales floor as it was, if you've been in retail, you know what I'm talking about. It's offloading new product and changing the pricing and doing the sales and doing the inventory. A lot of busy work, more time in the back than up front, right? And now, interestingly, they're shifting, and you'll probably see it, especially those of you in retail. They're shifting away from busy work again while promising to keep your hours, but making it heavy sales driven. So they're going to keep their employees based on performance. And if the employees can't perform, see what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily whether you can perform, because I want you to think about this a little bit. You have a downturn in the economy. People are tightening up their wallets and they're only buying what they need, not what they want. So you selling the add-ons is going to be even harder. So they intentionally set you up to fail to see who they can snip from the bottom tier of the employing staff. So that's something to pay attention to as well.
Yeah.
I have another example from Amazon for the Amazon workers. This is going to result probably in a class action lawsuit, right? For the emotional damage that they are doing to their workers. And what they're doing is they're giving them evaluations, periodically, and then they give them the scores from these evaluations. But the evaluators are told with a quota how many people are allowed to get a 5, on a 1 to 5 scale. And like 1 per department will get a 5, and 2 are allowed to get a 4. So you get all of these employees that have been working very hard to get that extra bit of a raise, because this evaluation is actually tied to the raise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get given back their scores where they're basically considered run of the mill or needs improvement, right?
Yeah.
But there are quotas to how many people are allowed to have good scores, and in some cases nobody gets the excellent 5 on anything in the entire department, right? And that lowers morale, and people start to see the writing on the walls of like, I'm not going to get ahead at this job, and it forces people to quit.
Yeah. Now, we could do a whole show on this particular topic when it comes to employment. I've seen a lot of videos around specifically talking about Gen Z. I think it applies to millennials as well, but where it's not work ethic, but a lot of people are just sick and tired of work because they have nothing to show for it. Social Security will probably be gone by the time my generation retires. But a lot of people are just like, what are we doing? Why are we working so hard for people who don't give a shit, that are just exploiting us for our time? Now, that's a different topic. And I want to shift gears from that. If you guys want to talk about that in another episode, either in the chat below, let me know, or email me at redpillrhino@hotmail.com. We can discuss this further, and maybe I can even host some of you guys on the panel and we can talk about it. I'd love to discuss the employment market right now, and the overall feeling of the cultural shift of the employee, even though right now it's an employer's market, how the employee is saying, not worth it, go fuck yourself. That's a show we could do in the future if you're interested again and you want to be on the panel, or you just want to do it or want me to host the show. redpillrhino@hotmail.com, or of course in the chat here. What I want to do with the last little bit of our time here, though, we are running out of time. I want to talk to the guys, go around the table, the round table, and talk about how they, in particular, get through times like these where things are uncertain. How you guys enjoy your time, what you do, what hobbies, what things bring you joy, family members, pets, whatever it is. Talk about your stories and be long-winded if need be. I'm not going to cut you short, but tell us, gentlemen, what helps you, or in some cases your clients or friends, get through some of these times, and how you or those people you know are making the best of the time they have today. I'm going to start with Crusader.
Well, you bringing this up reminds me of a conversation you and I had not long ago. I've had some pretty challenging times. I'm in my 40s. Went through the .com bubble. Went through the housing market, the cash for clunkers, the whole 9 yards. I've seen this before. I remember the Black Monday. I think it was 86 or 87. I remember seeing some of my dad's friends and stuff like losing their jobs, companies going bankrupt, and just shutting down completely. I've seen this. It's a cycle. It happens. It's going to happen. But as a wise man once told me before, and I've passed it on to others, this too shall pass. And we can always reinvent ourselves and redo and learn something new. So when I heard that as a kid, I didn't really understand it. And my old man, as crazy as my old man was, gave me some pretty good pearls of wisdom that I never truly understood until not many years ago. And I remember having a conversation with a couple of people and asking them, and my dad, I would watch my dad talk to some of these other guys, business partners of his, and my dad would say, "Oh, so and so, he's glass is half empty. The glass is he's the type of person, he's got the personality type, that glass, no matter how full it is, he'll always see the glass is half empty." He said, "That is what it is." He said, "But," he was like, "remember that, we'll talk about it later." And then he said, "There's some people that the glass is always half full. Those are the people that I like to reference as saying they have the June Cleaver syndrome. That the sun's always shining, no matter what, everything is wonderful, everything is great. And those are your glass half full people, no matter the scenario or situation." My old man and I, we kind of agreed on that. And he just looked at me, he goes, "Son," he goes, "I want to tell you something." He goes, "You're not going to understand it until later." He said, "I want to challenge the way you think about things. I want to be able to challenge your perspective on life." He said, "You can be the glass half empty. You can be the glass half full person. Or what nobody realizes, there's a third perspective on that. And it's not whether the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. It's whether or not you have a glass."
Agreed.
And looking at, Ryan, you and I talked about that before, and you said the exact same thing when we were talking. But yeah, change the way you look at it. And that's something, it's hard to do. It's very challenging. It's kind of awkward. It takes some getting used to, but be happy you have a glass.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that has kind of stuck with me since I was a kid. And I've used it a couple of times with a few other people, but it's one of those things that I never truly understood it. And one of my old man's good friends, who's, I know, here's a shocker, is dead now. His birthday was the day before mine, and he was a wealthy, successful businessman, built a nice home up on on a hilltop looking over a river and a bunch of land that he bought, a couple thousand acres of land he retired on. And he's sitting on his deck, and my dad was talking to him on the phone. Well, my dad was there with him, and I was talking to my dad on the phone, and I heard a chainsaw fire up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He said, "Oh, well, so and so just started a chainsaw," and my dad's like, "I'll call you back." And my dad's buddy, former business partner of his, retired, went out, fired up his chainsaw, and cut the railing off of his deck because it interrupted the view. It takes a unique individual to go and do something like that. Guy spent millions of dollars on the property, on the home, on everything.
Yeah.
And just because one little thing disrupted his view of how he wanted it to be, he did his own thing.
One.
And I really admired the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
if he didn't know something, he figured out how to do it. He learned how to do it, and he became almost a master at it.
Right.
And that's how I've learned how to work on cars, how to fix cars, how to work on, and it was fun. It was entertaining. Cool. I learned how to make cheese. I learned how to hunt. I learned how to bow hunt. I learned how to fletch my own arrows, how to build my own bow. I've learned all of those minor details, making my own cheese, making my own beer, built my own still, make my own wine, start a garden, picked up into amateur radio, now learning all the electronics and understanding how all of that stuff works. And this is kind of an homage to my father's friend, who kind of taught me that when life gets stagnant, you have to find a different way to challenge yourself. And another guy that was in a part of that circle of my old man, he said, and it didn't really hit me until I got older, is if you think life is boring, it means you're a boring person. It means you're not willing to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
If your life is boring, that's because of you, and you are the only one that can change it, and it's up to you to do it. So that's about it, man.
Something to add to that really quick. So I don't think it was Crusader specific when he mentioned just be glad you have the glass. I think it was just kind of coincidental. At the same time he was saying that, I kind of just had to learn it, Here's one thing I noticed about the glass. One, so I went to the pool today, and one thing I noticed is there was people enjoying the pool, and then there are people that were sitting in the chairs on their phone. Both people had a glass. One person was using the glass and enjoying it. The other person was, in my opinion, wasting the glass. They had the glass, but they weren't using it to be full or empty. They were just not engaged in the moment at all, or the glass, right? But another thing I noticed in my own life is I was so busy at one point trying to, I don't know if it was even grow up, because I was always a rebel. I was always living life in the fast lane, being reckless, getting caught up in wild and crazy things, right? But I was so busy trying to live in the fast lane, I forgot about some of the simple stuff. Again, going back to the glass, it's not just that you have it, it's how you use it. I think there's more to it than just having it. Having it's great. Just be glad that you have it. Appreciate life. But it's also how you use it. It doesn't matter whether it's full, half empty, whatever. But I noticed little things like this year, and I know I've pointed this out in episodes before, but I want to reemphasize this. So I planted seeds this year. Little tiny romaine seeds, little tiny zinnia flowers, little seeds, little tiny things. And I watched them come out of the soil, and I watched them grow, and I watched some of the first flowers come out of my peppers, and I watched what can happen on the other side with fertilizer and nitrogen starting to kill off your plants because you got the mixture wrong. I've seen things that I never thought. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Name the movie. But I discovered bugs that I never knew existed. There's a thing called root maggot. It is very specific that eats the roots of your plants. It's maggots, but it's for roots. I had to figure out how to kill them without making my plants unsafe to eat later. All sorts of things I learned. But it wasn't just having the glass. It was appreciating the glass, the simplicity of going out in the morning and watering my plants, discovering my soil's moving and going, what is that? And then learning from it. It's taking the moment to actually appreciate the glass you were given. To get rid of the metaphor, the life you were given. Just appreciate life more. Step out of the fast lane and just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy the simple things. The best advice I can give you from personal experience, and it's different for everybody. It may not work for you, but try it. The best thing I can give you as a piece of advice is the more I got in touch with my inner child, the happier I've become. The more I let the joy of just the simplest little things, just seeing a ladybug on one of my plants, just crawling around, brings me joy. The more simple I've made life, the more I've enjoyed the things I would as a kid, the better my life has gotten. So I've taken the glass and I've filled it with things that bring me joy. And I think that in itself will help you tremendously through these times. I'm going to jump to you, Sean. Your thoughts, sir.
Well, going back to the glass thing, you already covered it in the last couple of minutes. Was like, well, it sounds more like you were filling up your own glass, and that's probably on top of the additional perspective of just be happy you have a glass. Well, when you have the glass, start filling it up so that when it gets full, you get to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was going to say this. Ever since I was between a kid to even up to now, there really has been no period in life where things were not in a state of high stress or what is it? Either being in a high stress environment or in a dangerous environment. It's over the last few years, it has gone to a part where if I want to go find my peace, I could start doing that now. But now we got the uncertain times coming up, which will probably be a disturbance to that. So I'm very comfortable with being extremely uncomfortable. And I think that helps me manage when everybody else seems to be freaking out. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, this is bad. This is bad. That's bad. That's bad." I'm like, I'm just happy Haji ain't trying to shoot me or blow me up. And the way that I kind of find peace now is, well, you guys know I got a rambunctious and special little kid. I've got a couple of special little animals because they're all a little messed up in their own little ways. But you know what? They're our family, and we try to do things for them. So the cat doesn't like anything besides shoestring and treats. So, okay, laser light. So she'll get like some time and we'll play with her. The dog, she just loves to go outside and go mess about, but she's a big dog and scares the living shit out of everybody in the neighborhood. So we'll go and just do a long walk outside the neighborhood area so nobody's afraid of her. The kiddo, every once in a while, I'll just throw some surprise at him, be like, "Hey, go get your shit. Let's go." Like, what are we doing? We're going to go over to this place. We're going to go to Flying Trampoline Park. We're going to go to a restaurant, or we're going to go to a gathering somewhere. For me personally, learning to cook has helped out a lot because when I first started noticing that meals were because I used to just be a frozen meal or getting shit from fast food or restaurants all the time.
Mm.
I noticed that I'm paying the same thing for less, and now it's gone to I'm paying more for absolute less.
Yeah.
Or I could take that exact same receipt, dollar amount, go buy the ingredients myself, make it the way I want, and I at least can't be disappointed because it's so much better than what I could just order on DoorDash or go to a restaurant. When you go to local restaurants and you're disappointed with the meal, the service can be fine. But when you're disappointed in what they give you and you go, are you kidding me? I don't have to spend $50 to make this one meal. That $50 could make 2 or 3 days worth of this exact meal if I
Yeah.
do it. I just have to sacrifice my time and energy to do it. But also indulging in new things. Every once in a while, I'll go down the rabbit hole of YouTube on a subject matter I know nothing about. And by the time I'm done, I'm an amateur.
You're
At least-
hawk to it out.
No, not going to do that. No. Get your wooden fist and go aim it. But yeah, that no secret that I like my video games, and I'm very disappointed with modern video games, and I go back to the old games. Not the old games like back in the NES days, but games that are between 5 to 10 years old. I get far more enjoyment out of them than picking up a brand new game and go, geez, whatever happened to the games of the good old days? Oh, that's right. They got taken over by corporate overlords who cared nothing except for the bottom line, which was
They made him lame
how
and
does-
gay and put a chick in it.
Yes. Yeah. But no, find something that gives you joy. And when you get that personal time to yourself, indulge in it. And try not to indulge in the bad habits. You know, when you get that free time, like the booze, substances, things that are just overall bad for your health. Try to reduce that as much as possible.
There you go.
Because even I can't say, we all need to stop drinking. We all need to stop smoking. Some of us need that to not end up as a statistic in the FBI violent crimes report.
Y'all need to stop. On that note, let's go to Agent of Doubt and tell us how you, or reviewing people you know, how do you get through, I guess not even how you get through, because let's not be doom and gloom. It's not like the world's ending tomorrow, but how do you enjoy life, or how do you recommend, or how do others recommend getting through life or enjoying it a little bit more?
Well, I was ready to go for the doom and gloom, but
we'll do that then. Fuck it.
I'm going to be planning some things too. It's about time for me to put my watermelon and squash in the ground.
Nice.
Nice.
I would say, as far as doom and gloom, I don't want to say anything that any other prepper would have said on any generic video. But what I will say is there's plenty of preppers who have already thought this shit out. Find them on YouTube. There's also plenty of like doomsday preppers who have really thought this shit out. And you can find 100 different types of plants in one pack in a bucket that they sell for doomsday preppers for very cheap on Amazon.
Yes.
Right? And you could have a whole farm's worth of like just a Garden of Eden of all the stuff you want in one compacted thing that somebody else already thought of and already made the product.
Oh, so yeah. Quick interjection. He talks about preppers a lot. Be careful. There are certain channels who shall not be named here from Canada That's one example, but there are certain preppers out there that have been giving you fear porn for the last 5 years and are telling you that the world is ending every day and happen to have sponsors to sell you shit that'll help you survive the end of the world. Be careful who you watch out there. There's a lot of preppers out there that are good. If you guys want recommendations later, I can give you those because I follow a lot of those guys. And at one point, did my own show about that stuff. But that was before the rebrand. Anyway, there's a lot of guys out there that want to sell you fear porn. Be careful of those. Anyway, that's my only interjection. Back to you.
So I'd say get comfortable with asking people for help, right? It's a very big problem when people are going through hard times is they just can't ask for help, right? That's why you get more friends in this time when times are good. Collect friends so that you can ask people how to ask for help, if that's what your problem is. One of my favorites is get yourself a library card, right? Free entertainment from the library, all sorts. You can check out things like laptops and tools for your garden. And the best thing you can do with your library card is you walk up to the librarian and say, what sort of free events can I get in with this library card? They're waiting for somebody to ask that question. They're just going to like ambush you with like, here's some plays and here's some tickets to a baseball game and let people get dropped off. And like, here's some other stuff. It's just first come first. Like they have a website and you're supposed to go there and look at all the free stuff that people just gave for somebody that has a library card to use. And there's so many things that you just don't know about. You just have to ask that person behind the desk, hey, what's the weirdest thing that this library card can get me besides all these books, right?
Yeah.
But seriously, like if the internet went down, you'd have to know how to crack open a book, right? You have to know where the books are. You know, it's really, it's easier if you've already seen the place before.
Oh, that makes me wonder how many people remember how to use the library index card system instead of going
Dewey
to
Decimal
computer
System.
typing a keyword search.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll say get comfortable with ham hocks and beans, like struggle meals. There's an entire YouTube channel dedicated to struggle meals, and they're great meals. But there are great cheap meals that can feed a whole bunch of people while you are playing poker with them, right? Because you're going to want to have friends over for like cheap, free fun. Collect board games that you might want to play with your friends, you know, like Warhammer, if you're like the kind like Ryan who can like actually paint a model, you know. Yeah, and lastly, I'll say there's plenty of if you're really, really shit hits the fan, like you've lost everything. There are specialists in town that deal with that. And I deal with people myself who've hit ground zero of rock bottom. And I teach people how to get back into at least having an apartment and a job and having more clothes in their closet and a couple pieces of furniture within a month, right? If you found yourself with nothing, there are places to go, right? And walk yourself right into that library. Ask the librarian where you go. Walk into an ER and just ask the nurse, hey, where do homeless people go? You know, if you found yourself stripped of everything. And as far as finances, because I see some of these uncertain times coming and other signals, don't have all of your finances in one place. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe take a listen to that one prepper that you know that thinks that having little pieces of metal might be good, and do a little bit in that. Don't have all your money in one bank account, split between like a bank and a credit union and whatnot, and just don't have all your money in one place that it can be seized, right? And just for the sake of protecting yourself, think of this as a magical entity that no matter what you do, it's still going to try to get your money wherever it is. however you have it there, find a way to protect it. And the best way is to diversify.
There
Yep.
you go. Solid. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for coming on tonight. I think everybody had pretty good pointers and advice this evening. I hope you watching at home or on the road or wherever.
Oh,
you
I have one
might be.
more. I have one more.
Oh shit! Got an interjection. All right, one more.
I have one more. So
Yes.
among all these free things that you can do, you can teach your girlfriend to
Oh, God
it's
damn it.
totally free. It's free entertainment.
Once again, if you're watching at home or on the road, thank you for joining in. And just remember, tell all the ladies at home that all they need to do to make things better is hock to and spit on that thing. All right, guys, we'll do a bit of an after party. I'll put up the link in the chats. We'll see you guys next week or soon. Have a great night. I'll see you guys later.
We are the arbiters of this society.
Repeat after me. As a good citizen, we must maintain a neutral carbon footprint. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat. Repeat after me. We must eat the bugs. Repeat.
This is a world that we create and manage. The people, they need to be controlled. We will give them truths, but only our truths. They are not to seek information anywhere else.
It is my job to keep order. So what you saw didn't happen. Erase everything.
You a grunt? I used to be one, and I was good at it.
I know. Things were simpler then. I have some questions.
You need to understand, we're being hunted.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me f***ed up. Let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit and I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I'll take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up, it's inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes my dynasty. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back.
Hey, we're still alive, Rhino.